What's too long? The intro's too long. Hey everybody, how you doing? How you doing, everybody? Welcome back to the show. Hey, you know what? This is the first time we've done this in like 2 weeks together. Me and Ed. I'm talking about me and Ed. How you doing, Ed? It's been forever. Where you been?
I'm just trying to think. Where? I've been here, I've been there, I've been everywhere.
Everywhere, over there, everywhere.
Yeah.
Boy, and what's going on in this cannabis industry since
Where,
we've been on
and
it?
here all have the same last 4 letters. Here.
Wow.
Wow. Ow. Wow. What are you thinking here? Big deal that Canopy announced?
What big deal was that? I don't actually follow cannabis stocks anymore.
You don't?
Of course I do. That's all I do. Yeah, the Canopy deal to buy that dronabinol manufacturer, that was interesting because dronabinol, are you familiar with the history of dronabinol?
Well, I know a little bit about dronabinol, but only because
Dronabinol is an FDA synthetic cannabinoid that's based on the THC molecule.
Can anybody make it? Can anybody, like if I want to go make some, can I go make some?
No!
Why not?
You need a license, damn you!
I got a driver's license.
Well, okay, you can make it in your car. Anyways, no. Dronabinol is approved for use, indicated for counter nausea,
vomiting.
And nausea and vomiting, and the other side effects associated with chemotherapy as a treatment for cancer. It's approved for that. Problem is, it doesn't have the same effect for everybody. It has an inconsistent efficacy, I guess would be the term. It has side effects that range from suicidal tendencies, rather. Suicidal dependency.
Yeah,
I am suicidally dependent on you,
I'm
Ed.
depending on suicide here to get me through this.
If I don't get my Ed fix every once in a while, I'm going to commit suicide. Okay. That's it.
So I also understand that, let me just sit straight here so I can.
Oh, okay. I kind of like you slouching.
I like I'm a bit of a slouch.
You're a bit of a sloucher, aren't you?
Apparently, a lot of people feel it's the delivery system that causes the inconsistencies.
FedEx.
I thought they used UPS personally.
Well, see, there you go. There's an inconsistent delivery system. If they don't use FedEx...
Yeah, you called the guy to say, where's my package? He says, what the fuck are you talking about?
Package between my legs?
The package. How's your package? Nice package.
Nice package. And,
okay.
But no, the dronabinol thing is interesting. So I'll bet dollars to donuts that... Now I'm just speculating here. Canopy's going to buy that sucker and try to reformulate dronabinol with a biological replacement for the synthesized THC element of the whole formula in an effort to eliminate those things. But here's the thing. Dronabinol is an off-patent drug. That means that anybody pretty much can make it who has a license to formulate drugs for medical use.
Right.
And so...
When you say off-patent, does that mean that it can now be replicated? Not replicated, maybe the wrong word.
It's now generic. It now has generic potential.
Okay.
The era of exclusivity of ownership over the IP has come to an end, and it can now be formulated by anybody who can fog a mirror, essentially. But
I think when the ED drugs are all coming off patents.
ED, the Ed drugs.
Ed drugs, yeah.
Coming up on the show today.
Erectile dysfunction?
Aren't you glad we only do this once a week now?
No, people want us back. More! Okay, if everybody that you know sends us each, what, $50?
$50.
Just 50.
$50 a month.
Each.
A month. Coming up today is going to be amazing. Just fucking amazing. Unfortunately, news nurse Ricky Gerwitz is out with an untreatable, communicable, self-inflicted gunshot wound. No, I'm just kidding. She's just sick today. So Connor's going to be here with the news.
Connor?
He's a fetching young lad.
He's
Then at 3:08, James and Ed will be here. James and Ed who? That might be me and you, or more appropriately, you and I. Then, let's see. Boris Ziger is here from Matica Enterprises. Matica Enterprises. That will be interesting. Who else we got? Yeah, Boris Ziger is not with Canopy Rivers. Jim Hamilton from Neptune Wellness Solutions will be here. Jim is, as always, an interesting cat to talk to. The Neptune stock performance has really turned around since the beginning of the year. And Jim has some really interesting comments on the future of the formulation industry in the United States, Canada, and the world, of which we will all find ourselves soon part. So what else? Let's see. There's a wrap up. There's going to be an interstitial. Mark Noble is going to join us live in the studio from Horizons ETFs. And in case you weren't in Lima, Peru last week or the week before, I can't remember now because I've been doing so many cannabinoids that I've been buying crazy shirts like this one. It doesn't even have buttons. I'm totally confused now.
I think you put it on backwards. The buttons are down the back.
Well, that could be actually in the collar. It's a button on or a zip on.
Or sure, that's not a shirt sleeve. Did you put your head through the shirt sleeve again? Jesus.
Pretty sure these are my pajamas. And so anyways, Mark Noble will be here from Horizons ETF. We talked about Horizons on the stage in Lima, Peru, to a gathered bunch of high net worth investors about the benefits of owning an ETF. And so that's going to be an interesting conversation.
Did you see yesterday? It was in the Globe anyway, so maybe it was announced the day before. Yeah.
Which Globe?
Globe and Mail.
Oh, where's that?
The ETF, Horizon announced 2 new ETFs specifically related to the MJ world.
No kidding.
Yeah, one's a double move.
A 2X.
2X.
2X long?
Long.
2X long.
And 1XS.
1X short.
Yeah.
Oh, that's an interesting play for them who have all the stock in the world they'd ever want to borrow to go short anything.
Well, they listen.
How do they do the math on all that now?
I don't know.
So they got an ultra long, or they got a long only. Never mind. We're going to let Mark tell us about that when he gets here. We're not going to speculate.
We're not going to speculate.
How about some news?
Here are the headlines moving markets today. Evenco announced a comprehensive loss of $1 million in Q1 in the company's financial results for the 3-month period ending March 31st, 2019. The company also reported revenue of $1.7 million. Fire and Flower Holdings Corp. has announced a net loss of $37.8 million in its financial and operational results for the fiscal year ending February 2nd, 2019. The company also reported total revenue of approximately $13 million at a gross margin of 38%. Zenabis Global Inc. announced that it has received final approval for the listing of the company's common shares and outstanding listed common share purchase warrants on the Toronto Stock Exchange. The company's common shares and warrants will begin trading on the TSX effective as of market open on May 27, 2019. Emerald Health Therapeutics Inc. has been appointed by the American Trade Association for Cannabis and Hemp to lead its International Affairs Council on CBD and hemp in the ATACH's engagement with the US Food and Drug Administration. The engagement pertains CBD-containing products and associated cross-border trade. The FDA is slated to begin the public consultation on May 31st to discuss potential pathways for CBD products to come to market in the US. The Green Organic Dutchman Holdings Limited announced that it has secured a cannabis supply agreement with Alberta Gaming, Liquor and Cannabis. The company plans to further expand its footprint in Western Canada, AGLC under the brand Alberta Cannabis in Alberta's non-medical online cannabis store. Planet 13 Holdings Inc. announced that it has been approved for immediate trading on the OTCQX Best Market. Planet 13's stock began trading on the OTC markets on September 17, 2018 and will continue to trade under the symbol PLNHF. Canada House Wellness Group Inc. announced that its wholly owned licensed producer, ABBA Medics Corp., has completed its first commercial-scale harvest in its 22,000 square foot production facility. ABBA commenced full-scale operations of its indoor controlled grow facility in early February, with plants moved into the facility on a commercial scale at the time. ICC International Cannabis Corp. announced that the company's previously announced acquisition of 49.9% of Wayland Group Corp's international assets and license portfolio has closed. And that's your news for today.
Have you noticed, Ed, that the monopoly enjoyed by Google in terms of delivering search results to searchers around the world has resulted in a bias towards all things American? Like even companies American news media companies are reporting on Canadian news events and getting better ranking than Canadian historical news, like the Globe and Mail, for example, comes up number 3 when you search cannabis in Canada. What comes up first? Forbes, BNN Bloomberg, which is just a thin prophylactic for Bloomberg itself, USA Today. Like, really? I think it takes 7 news organizations to come together to sign a petition to launch an anti-competition act in Canada, and then the Bureau of Competition must act. I think that the Canadian journalistic landscape will probably more or less cease to exist completely, or let me rephrase that, we'll all be working for American companies if the Canadian government does not act. However, our Canadian government, much like governments around the world, are a little bit too out to lunch to understand what's really happening in the world around them. Unlike Donald Trump. What? Donald, can you believe that guy? I mean, it's remarkable. While Russia and China are essentially amassing on their border, Donald Trump has nothing better to do than have a pissing match with the leader of the House, Nancy Pelosi, and storm out like a little boy who's upset that he's been told he can't play with his muffins anymore.
Did he do that?
Yeah. He's been doing it every day for the last 2 weeks. I saw an interesting tweet. The guy said, he was an American guy, said, how can anybody be so stupid to still be a Trump supporter? Good question, I thought. Not that I'm against Trump. I think he'd make an excellent con artist. Oh, wait, he already is. He's just an unconvicted felon at this point. Let's not dwell on American politics, shall we? That might explain our soaring ratings. What else we got going on today? What time is it? 3:12. Let's take a look at markets, Ed.
Yeah.
What about that?
Let's look at the...
Let's look at the S&P 500.
That's what I'm going to... There it is. There it is.
Can they see it in the... Whoa!
Wow, look at that.
Look at that.
Okay, let's put up a...
It looks like the back of a shark fin.
6-month chart.
Ooh, that's a little less interesting.
Well, you see...
More evidence of the American con job happening at the behest of the U.S. dollar as the market continues to rise on the fumes of fractional banking.
So back to Christmas.
Yes.
Right? Look at that run. And then, but the slope of the line is lessening, right? Like, it was going up faster here. Now it's going like that.
If you were in a roller coaster and you were gritting your teeth for the imminent plunge downward at having reached the peak, where would you say we're at in that sort of analogy?
Well, we've already sort of done that. Now we're going up the second little hill, getting momentum, but it looks like...
Or did we just do a loop-de-loop before the big plunge?
Well, yeah.
I think that's the kind of technical analysis we need to focus on. After a long clatter up to the peak of the Russian mountain, a loop-de-loop will soon be followed by the big plunge.
Wow. Kawaii. All I can say here is that, there's more and more evidence every day that I see that a lot of companies are guiding lower. Mm-hmm. So, the market looks to be getting comfortable a little bit lower. We bounced back. What I don't like, if you look at a 2-year chart here, which I'm going to do, put up a 2-year chart. There's a 1 year, 2-year. When you look at a 2-year chart of the S&P, this looks much more problematic. It looks to me that just from the chart action, you had this unbelievable move, right? There we go. Look at that, and then like that, and then down, a break, and that trend, a contra move. I'd be surprised if we could break into new highs. Anyway.
Yeah. Right. You know what? Fraser was here a little earlier talking to Boris Ziger from Matica Enterprises. Here's that interview.
Joining me now is Boris Ziger, is the CEO of Matica Enterprises, trading on the CSE under the symbol MMJ. Boris, how are you doing today?
I'm great. Great to be here.
Thanks for coming. This is your first time on the show.
It is, first time.
Yeah, so let's give our audience kind of an impression about what Matica is all about and the general footprint of the company.
All right, absolutely. Matica, we're a cannabis company. We're a license holder in Quebec. We've got a facility, 10,000 square feet indoor val, and we just got our cultivation license back in October. And we've cut our first crop, so we're really excited about that. Second one is on its way, and hopefully we'll have our sales license sometime later this year, and we're ready to go.
Great. So you guys just recently released your year-end financial statements.
Yes, yes.
And in that document, you can see that you guys have over about $7 million in cash.
That's right.
So what's the plan moving forward over the next little while to spend said cash?
Greenhouse. We've got a property just south of Dorval. It's about an hour away from our other facility, just south of Montreal, and it's 181 acres that we bought. And we're building 1 million square feet of greenhouses in 200,000 square foot increments. So that is starting like pretty much now.
And what's your feelings about operating out of Quebec? I mean, I don't know where you're from, but I know that the energy situation seems to be favorable.
Quebec is a great place to operate, to be honest with you. Yeah, I'm from Ontario, I'm from Toronto, but Quebec is just a fantastic place. We started going through our numbers, and they seemed a little off, a little on the low side, and we had to go back to look at our electricity bill, and it's like, wow, that is really cheap. It's a great place to operate. The government has been fantastic there. The local communities have been very supportive. Just a great place to work. A lot of good staff, too. Very talented people in Quebec. So we're growing some incredible product right now.
As you look at sort of the landscape of the various companies that are out there, your competitors, as it were, was Quebec part of that decision, or and how do you see?
Kind of, yeah. There wasn't a lot of people in Quebec. There still aren't a lot of people in Quebec.
Right.
And of course, the Quebec government, they have a mandate to try and purchase as much cannabis from Quebec growers. So we feel that we've got a great market in Quebec. And again, just the cost of doing business there has been so much cheaper. And of course, we're from the mining industry, so we respect cash very much because it's always been hard to come by. So anytime that we can spend as little as possible, that's great for us, and I think that's great for our shareholders. And Quebec is the perfect place to do that.
So as sort of, I guess, a late joiner, what's your view on how to ultimately be around when the last companies are standing? Because inevitably, as we move forward, there will be companies that don't make it or get bought up, or it's a tough go out there.
I was kind of like the tortoise and the hare. So we're kind of the tortoise. We're getting there. But we will get there. We've got our licenses now. We've got our plans in place. Everything seems to be moving really well. We've populated it with great people. They're doing an incredible job. And I think at the end of the day, yeah, we're playing catch up to the Hexos of the world. But I think we'll get there.
And what are you most excited about kind of entering the space? There's, I understand you have some new business going on at this point.
Yes, yeah. We had a couple new businesses, a couple new things happening. Obviously, you're familiar with the Unify situation and all that with the creams, but the big thing now is edibles. Edibles are coming. It's going to happen sometime in October, we hope, and we're getting ready for it. So we purchased an edibles company, well, sort of an edibles company, Chocolatiers, and they make incredible tasting chocolates. Just really, they're award-winning people. They know what they're doing, and we're going to be working with them to blend cannabis into their products and create a premium edible product, which will be a fabulous adult use cannabis.
Yeah, and
we're really excited about it.
For sure. I mean, moving forward, you see edibles being a big part of not just your business, but many
every business. Yeah. I mean, I just think edibles for people who haven't been using cannabis and are just starting to use cannabis, it's a great way of getting into the whole space. Nobody smokes anymore. So even cigarettes, who smokes, right?
Yeah.
So, and dealing with all the paraphernalia and all that stuff, a lot of people, they have no idea how to do it. But to open up a box of chocolates and to have a chocolate and to use it, I guess to use it intelligently, and I think the consumer needs to be educated on how to use chocolate properly. And I think the idea of having 10 milligram units, is what the government is planning, is probably a very good way of doing it.
Yeah.
I think Health Canada, in many ways, has really done a very good job of taking a great approach to this. And I think it's going to be very successful, and we're going to have a wonderful rollout into the edibles market. I'm looking forward to it. The chocolatiers, they make incredible chocolates, truffles and meltaways. All of these can be infused with cannabis. Obviously, gummies are going to be part of it. beverages as well. And any other kind of cannabis-infused situation like a vape or something is going to be part of that rollout. And we've got some wonderful trademarks that they've trademarked a while ago, which are going to sort of give us a bit of an edge in the market, I think. And also flavor. I mean, if you're going to eat a chocolate, it better taste good, right?
Absolutely. So where can people find, do you have an interwebsite?
That would be on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Our website is MaticaMMJ.com.
That's not difficult enough.
Not at all, not at all, no.
Great. Well, thanks so much for being here, Boris. And that's a good introduction to the company. And we'd like to have you back in a few months and see how you're doing.
I would love to come back.
Hey, and we're back here. I was just like, so yeah, what do you think, Matica? It's amazing looking at the share price of Matica. Maybe throw that up on the chart.
Yeah,
the symbol is MMJ. There's some companies out there that have
What exchange?
the CSC. Oh, actually, I think MMJ is TSXV. No, it's CNX.
CNX?
CNX, yeah.
CNX.
Otherwise known as the C.
9.5. Well, wow. Matica Enterprises. 9.5 cents.
Yeah, that's the one.
Look at that. Look at that.
Yeah. So $7 million in the bank.
Really?
Yeah. Like, really?
Take this company over.
Well, make a shell out of it. No, but it's like, holy cow. Amazing how many companies
shares?
that have
How many
actually
shares?
raised a pile of money. 300 million out now. Amazing how many companies have raised a pile of money and basically not been able to get critical mass with their audience, or call it what you will.
Yeah.
Just hasn't been able to succeed. So it's like I look at companies like that, and why they got $7 million in the bank. I mean, that's cool, but is it from revenue or is it from raising capital? That's a cool thing.
Well, it's got to be from raising money.
Well,
Because if they were generating those kinds of revenues,
they wouldn't have 300 million shares out.
well, they should be buying back their own stock.
You would think, eh? One of the things that's happening in the cannabis space is everybody has now, like, the mantra used to be biggest greenhouse, best marijuana. Now the mantra is we're going to create consumer packaged goods products by building a greenhouse in each country and getting in and developing a product line that way. How many companies are saying that now? And then you've got these companies that are saying, no, we're going to just be extractors and not grow any cannabis. MetaPharm is a great example of that. Company that has, from an investor's
That's what
perspective.
Pump wants to do too, right? Become an extractor.
Who? What?
Pump.
Pump. Pump, yes, pump. Symbol doesn't mean anything to you? Anyways, I guess we can't go down that road. Yeah, but the thing is, like, the business model, the flavor of the day keeps on changing.
Yeah,
and,
of course it does.
What's going to be the winning business model in the next
What do you
evolution?
look? Do you think having a big warehouse? I hear now there's, I've read about people that say it's difficult to grow a lot of pot in a big space.
Sure is.
Why is that?
Well, because an optimum environment for cannabis in terms of humidity, temperature, light cycle is also an optimum environment for every single pest, be it fungus or mildew or insect or otherwise, to grow in the same space. So it's like if you plant a field full of apple trees, suddenly you're going to find every pest that was ever known to man that feeds on apple trees is going to be in your orchard because you've just created the perfect environment for an apple-loving pest. And so that's the basic logic of why it's so hard to grow cannabis in large spaces, because you create an optimum environment for cannabis and its pests, because you're basically creating their food in the best possible condition it can be in. And in an environment where you're not really allowed to use pesticides, that presents a bit of a challenge. Very hard it is. And that's why we saw some instances of myclobutanol use on the case of some LPs that caused them to disappear into other entities. But as was said at the time, that the fact that people said, oh, these companies are using myclobutanol, this industry can't be trusted. Well, no, that's actually a sign that the industry regulation is working to an extent, in that we exposed the fact we had this problem. Those companies have now been appropriately wrapped upon the knuckles and disappeared into the sunset, and never to be heard from again. Mind you.
Interesting.
Yes, that's my theory, and I'm sticking on to it. But one of the things I wanted to do today, Ed, was have you noticed that our audience has become very vocal?
Has it?
Very vocal.
Well,
let's check in with our audience. For example, right now, let's see. Carl Bowden. Hello, Carl. Makes an interesting comment. He's been high for 8 hours on edibles. Yes, you get up the next morning and you're still high. Well, Carl, that's an interesting problem.
If you're high, you don't have to get up.
Well,
you get up to get higher, right?
Maybe you do. Maybe you have to go to work. And I can relate to that. But, dosage, people, dosage. But that's the problem with edibles. Who knows what you're getting.
Really?
Yeah, well, imagine if you're making your own edibles. You're like, I'm going to make some cookies. Let's see, how much cookie dough relative to how much cannabis do I use if I want to have 5 milligrams of cannabis per ounce of dried weight cookie dough? Fuck, that math is way too complicated for me. And then you got to make sure the measurements are okay. So for all you know, you're making cookies with like 100 milligrams in them, enough to down an elephant for 12 hours. And how are you going to know? How are you going to know? Nobody knows.
So if they say there's 10, what is it, milligrams? Is it milligrams that they measure? Milligram
content, yeah. So basically, for somebody like me, I can only speak from my own experience. I have a very extremely low tolerance to THC. So in fact, 1 milligram of THC and I feel goofy. 2 milligrams, I'm feeling really goofy. 3 milligrams, and I'm as high as another person.
You'd be feeling goofy.
Goofy.
That's
exactly.
For 3.
And 5 milligrams?
Goofy.
Okay, here's the real test, Ed Milewski.
Okay.
10 milligrams.
It'd be goofy times 10. Goofy.
Not bad. That's impressive. Boy, I couldn't do that. So what about 25 milligrams?
I'm going to take some right now.
Yes. It improves your enunciation.
So when it says there's 10 milligrams in a cookie, if you ate half the cookie, does that mean you ate 5 milligrams? No.
Well, assuming that the cannabis was evenly distributed throughout the cookie, then theoretically, yes.
Okay.
But, sometimes when you're mixing up the cookie dough and you're not really paying attention to how thoroughly it's mixed.
When you're pouring the THC and you're going like this. And you miss the bowl.
Well, that would certainly cause some problems.
I don't feel anything with these cookies. Oh, I poured it in there, dear.
Yeah, no, but you know how you can get poorly mixed cookie dough, and you've got 100 milligrams in one cookie and 5 milligrams in another cookie. You give a cookie to your loved one, and your loved one's batshit out of control for like 10 hours, gets up the next morning still high, and you're like, I don't get it. I didn't even get high off this shit.
So you won't have to worry about tossing your cookies.
That's what we got today, Ed. That's here. Okay.
You gotta like that one.
Next
you gotta
up,
like that.
Mark
You're eating
Noble
cookies.
is going to be here from Horizons ETFs, joining me live in the studio. Let's talk about Aurora. Recently, your financials, you've more or less delivered on
Here are the headlines moving markets today.
If you're lucky to buy it 3 days ago at 37 cents.
And I think it has a lot to do with some of these smaller names giving really...
Recreational cannabis is here. It's quite dry. So I'm going to eliminate the stocky bits.
Horizons ETFs Management is a financial services company and offers one of the largest suites of exchange-traded funds in Canada. Horizons ETFs has more than $10.2 billion of assets under management and 85 ETFs listed on major Canadian stock exchanges. The company is a member of the Murray Asset Global Investments Group and trades on the Toronto Stock Exchange under the ticker HMMJ.
Mark Noble joins me now from Horizons ETFs. Mark, welcome back.
Hey, great to be here.
Mark, what's new with Horizons ETFs? You've launched another couple of new ones. One's doubly leveraged to the upside, one single times leveraged to the downside. How do those work?
Okay, so we've had a lot of demand from HMMJ users, holders, wanting to get exposure either on the leverage long side or in some ways want to short it. So what we've done is we've launched two new ETFs. One, HMJU, provides 2 times the exposure of an underlying North American marijuana index. And the marijuana index is sort of comprised of the large LPs, so all the, the household names, not small caps. And then we have a -1 index ETF, which is ticker symbol HMJI. So you got HMMJ right in the middle, long exposure, HMMJU, double exposure, and HMJI for inverse exposure. And that provides -1 times exposure to the market. So if that index goes up during the day 1%, the -1 would lose 1%, and the double one would make 2%. And the inverse would happen. If the index was to decline 1%, you would make 1% on the inverse, and you would lose 2% on the double long.
Oh, okay, that's relatively easy to understand. I could probably get it if you told me that about 3 more times. But no, I get it. So, so does that make the it's like on the short side? For example, I'm familiar with the natural gas.
Right, very similar idea.
Right, the 3x to the downside can wipe you out in a heartbeat, and whereas well, on either one, you can make an error in judgment and find yourself.
Right. Well, we're not doing 3 times. So it's 2 times on the leverage marijuana, the upside. There's obviously a lot of volatility. So today, for example, we just launched them today.
Yeah.
The market was up a certain amount, and I believe the double long was up, twice that. But if you look at the short side, that's where we've had a lot of interest. The reason being is, I've come on here before and talked, there's a lot of tension between, I would call Wall Street and Main Street. And the marijuana equity business, the bulwark of support for it is actually self-directed investors, it's retail investors. If we go and we look at Wall Street analyst reports, we look at hedge funds, there's a lot of short interest on marijuana stocks. And in fact, the borrow costs on individual marijuana stocks are absolutely astronomical. They're at their lows right now, probably over the last 6 or 7 months, but even a stock like Tilray is like 35% per annum to borrow. That means that if you held that short position for a year, you have to make 35% just to break even.
Right.
We've seen that go up to 100% at some point in time. Companies like Organigram around 22%. Canopy is probably the lowest at about 6%. Individual investors have a really hard time taking a short position on the market because they can't really, they have to use margin. They can have a margin call. So what this ETF allows you to do, particularly HMJI, is it allows you to have a flexible way to short the market. Even if you're long over the long term, there may be periods of dislocation you want to trade. This allows you to take a short position intraday, buy it throughout the day, and you can get that exposure. The one caveat, though, is unlike any other ETF in Canada, this has a borrow cost associated with it because our counterparty, in order to provide short exposure, they're going to actually have to short those stocks in their portfolio. So the current borrow cost on this ETF is about 18%, and it could be as high as 30%. So again, back to your original point, these are something that you got to be looking at from a tactical focus. So if you're looking at your technicals and you have a high conviction that there's a movement happening, you can use these ETFs to magnify your returns or take advantage of a pullback in the market. Just recognize that there's quite a bit of a cost to that, reflect in the borrow cost that gets transferred over.
So your upside is going to be whatever the move is, X of 18% per annum?
So that's a great question. No, so on the upside, there is no borrow cost. So it's just 2 times what the index would be. However, there's a leverage cost, a management fee of about 1.45%.
I mean, the upside in investing in the minus one.
Yes, sorry, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so if I'm looking for an intraday move, let's say that I have a little birdie whispered in my ear, and I'm fully expecting Canopy to lose $5 in the next 2 days. So
Okay.
I'm going to put $100 grand down on the short inverse ETF, and my plan is to exit the position at the week, no matter what happened, based on this expectation, unless my stop losses kick in and I get stopped out. So does that mean that even for 2 days or 3 days that I hold it, it's going to be 18% for the entire trade?
No, it's 18% per annum.
Okay, so it's divided by?
So it'd be divided by 252 trading days, right?
252, okay.
Well, generally, that would be the math. But what I want to highlight here is, if you have a view that Canopy is going to lose 5% over 6 months, you wouldn't buy HMJI or the sector, because the roll costs of that particular short could really hurt you. But to your example, that's exactly how we anticipate investors to try to use it. Is tactically, I got a view from 3 to 4 days a week, maybe a daily. We provide exposure daily, so the investment objective is to provide daily exposure. But I have a view that 1 to 3 days that this move is going to happen, I can get in and out of this position using the ETF to take advantage of that tactical move. And then I don't have to set up a margin account. I don't have to worry about borrow costs and prime brokerages. That's all a one-stop solution for you to take a short position on the market. On the other side, on the 2 times, the exact same thing. If you think that Canopy is going to shoot the lights out on its next earnings, and I know there seems to be a buildup of bullish activity on there, you could take the 2 times position and try to capture an upside movement on the market going in for a 3 to 4 day period. But the ETFs themselves, their goal is for that day. So for that day, they will deliver 2 times the underlying index. Beyond that, the exposure resets, so that you have it taking that reset position and then providing 2 times. And the reason we do that is so that we limit the investment exposure loss to what you invested. You're never going to lose more than what you invested. Anyone who's shorted marijuana stocks in the last year knows that you can lose a lot more than you invested, especially if you get caught with a margin call that can take you out of the position entirely. And the same thing with leverage. If I borrow, my borrow costs can exceed that. So there's been a lot of excitement about these ETFs because they're taking that unlimited risk of going long or short out of the marketplace and allowing you to have a liquid vehicle for which to get those movements.
So if you would have gone short Canopy on August 13th, 2018, you would have had your ass handed to you if you were actually short. But if you were in the inverse, it would have reset and you would have been like, okay, it's time to get the hell out of Dodge, but you wouldn't have lost your shirt.
Correct.
Theoretically.
You're exactly.
Okay, that's interesting. So what are the disadvantages of investing in like the double long? I mean, like it seems to me like it's a zero loss proposition. If you think that the stock market, if you think the index is going higher based on like a bunch of great earnings, and why wouldn't you just load up the truck on that?
Because the underlying is volatile, right? So the reason that people like to trade marijuana stocks, like when we look at HMMJ, we're doing anywhere from 1 million to 5 million units a day, and a lot of that is actually short-term money. Coming in and out, and that's because the volatility of marijuana stocks is I believe last year it was somewhere around 40%. Like there was huge swings, right? If you remember going into August of last year, there was that crest, and then we had the huge move up, and then we had Q4, lost another 40%, and then you're up, 80% on some of these stocks year to date. So yes, using double leverage can allow you to capture those returns. But on the downside, if you're 2 times leveraged on a big 20-30% move in the underlying, well, now you've lost 40 to 60%.
Right.
So there's no free lunch in investing. And so if you take a leverage position, your returns are going to be magnified, but also your risk is as well.
Sure. So both the inverse 1x and the 2x are the benchmark is the HMMJ itself?
It isn't technically. So it is a different index. It's called the North American Market on Close Index.
Okay.
But for all intents and purposes, the exposure is effectively the same. So if you were to put them in there, you'll see the performance of the index is very close to HMMJ. What we don't have that HMMJ does is HMMJ has over 50 stocks, and there's a lot of smaller cap names in there, sort of in the, I would say, the $75 million to $500 million range. None of those smaller names are in this particular index. In order for us to have a derivatives based structure, a synthetic structure to deliver leverage, we need to have liquid names. So it's a smaller portfolio of the larger names. But it's, like I said, it's the names you're widely following. I mean, the biggest holdings are Aurora, Canopy, Tilray, Kronos,
Right.
Organigram.
So in these multiplier ETF strategies, is it important for the investor to understand exactly the total effect of the individual constituents likely in terms of the full market reaction to any given piece of news?
I mean, it's important to understand that if you're betting it on, if you think Canopy is an outlier and Canopy is going to do one thing and the sector is going to do something else, then you have to keep that in mind. But generally, what we've started to see is that the large names have what we call a high degree of beta to the underlying market. So a big movement in Canopy is going to create a net rising tide effect across the board.
Sure.
So generally, your technicals on most of the big Canadian LPs are going to suggest that things move in tandem. So to your question, yes, you do need to be aware that if you're looking at individual stock news, you want to be playing that individual stock. But understand that big news on an individual stock, particularly the big names, is going to probably impact the sector. So there will be a correlation. And we want to provide sector exposure because if you go double long the sector and the sector's positive, but then you get a company failing on earnings miserably, which we've seen a couple of them do, you don't want to be caught offside on a leverage position on that one side. So the diversification of going long the sector actually reduces that single stock risk, which provides even more volatility.
Yeah, interesting. Well, I'm going to take a couple of schwacks at it just because that's how I learned. Learning the hard way, understanding through losing and or winning.
Okay, well, read the prospectus and read a lot of the disclaimer language there. These are structurally complex. They do what they're designed to do, but education goes a long way.
Okay. Mark Noble from Horizons ETFs, thank you very much for your input. As usual, very enlightening. Just a little bit confusing this time.
Just a little bit confusing,
No, but
okay.
Any other fool would be able to understand it. It's just that I'm a particularly big fool. Thanks for joining me today, Mark.
My pleasure.
All right, coming up, I'm going to be talking to Jim Hamilton from Neptune Wellness.
Neptune Wellness Solutions is a health and wellness products company founded in 1998 and is headquartered in Laval, Canada. The company is engaged in the extraction, purification, and formulation of science-based products. Neptune Wellness offers specialty ingredients such as Maximil, a patented ingredient that enhances the absorption of lipid-based nutraceuticals and various other marine and seed oils. In January, Neptune Wellness received its Health Canada license to process cannabis, which allows the company to manufacture and purify cannabis extracts and cannabis oil, and to sell its services to other license holders. Production activities are expected to start soon at Neptune's 50,000 square foot certified facility in Sherbrooke, Quebec. Neptune Wellness Solutions is listed on the Toronto Stock Exchange and the NASDAQ and trades under the ticker symbol NEPT.
I'm joined now by Jim Hamilton, CEO of Neptune Wellness. Jim, welcome back.
Jim, it's great to be back. Jim's are together again.
Yes.
The last time I was here, I think it was Valentine's Day.
Oh.
And you weren't here. I was heartbroken.
Well, I'm sorry, Jim.
Yeah.
You probably didn't give me enough notice on that. I would never have left you alone on Valentine's Day.
But a lot of change, again, to the studio since I was here last, including you got a new haircut. And,
I tend to get those every once in a while. But this is not about me. Let's talk about you. The stock price has really turned in a great performance, especially since the beginning of the year. And obviously that's at least in part driven by some of the moves you've made in the last few months. Most recently, you announced that Martin Landry has become Chief of Corporate Development. Martin Landry, formerly of GMP.
Yeah, that's correct. That's correct.
That's a great strategy. Hire the bankers. But probably more pertinent to the actual business is you've acquired a hemp processor, SugarLeaf Labs. Now, just for clarity's sake, this is not the SugarLeaf cannabis company that is operating in California and Oregon and Washington.
No, very, 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 very true. Yeah, James, just from where we started here, what's gone on since the new year? A lot. I think it's since the last time we were on your show. First of all, we were happy to get our license in Canada, and we've started processing, and the plant is up and running. We've had the addition of a couple of really great people to our team, one of whom you just mentioned, Martin Landry, who those in this industry know very, very well, is really the lead and one of the first great industry analysts. And we're happy to have him on board to help us with strategy and
I guess I won't be calling him for an interview anytime soon, at least not for the GMP context.
Also, the addition of a wonderful gentleman, Dr. Graham Wood, who is really probably one of the foremost clinicians in the cannabis space here in Canada, who's been doing a lot of the clinical work, not only in application forms, but on the clinical side, has joined us to lead our as Chief Scientific Officer, which is a great addition. And lastly, as you just mentioned, the addition of SugarLeaf Labs. They're based just outside of Charlotte in North Carolina, and they're in the hemp processing business. So James, when we've been looking, we believe a lot in the opportunity that exists in America. We love Canada, but we love the opportunity that exists in America. And with the Farm Bill coming through, both the NASDAQ and the TSX, our insurance companies and bankers have been supportive. And so we're very happy. We announced that transaction just last week.
So the acquisition of a hemp processor is obviously to service the value chain in terms of having your own processor in the vertical sort of lineup.
Well, yeah, look, James, we're not on the vertical. We're more interested in the horizontal. So we're not cultivators, as maybe mentioned to you before, that we don't have competency in cultivation, but we have a legacy of decades in extraction, the purification and formulation of delivery forms and clinical research. This is what our omega-3 business and nutrition products business was built on. And similarly with SugarLeaf Labs in the United States, they're not cultivators, but we love them for so many reasons. One, they are based in North Carolina, the heart of the tobacco belt. We think the tobacco belt will be a very interesting region to be located in. They have great contacts with the agri community there, which is very powerful. So we think the climate and the agri-infrastructure of the tobacco belt will be very conducive to this business. They also have large-scale extraction that they have built and have brought online as we speak, 1,500 metric tons worth. And where I think they saw value in us was a couple of ways. One is, I think people in this industry in the United States don't have a full appreciation for the quality control standards that CPG companies are looking for. And in fact, when we first arrived and we're talking to them, they thought we were a little bit crazy. And then they said other customers came through and realized you weren't crazy. This is what CPG industry needs. I think they very much appreciated our connectivity to the big brands and CPG companies in the United States in health and wellness and food, and that was very powerful. And I think they also appreciated the fact that we were listed both on the NASDAQ and the TSX. So great synergy and competencies and a great opportunity to bring them together. And I'm a big believer in this industry in the United States. Again, I think I've mentioned, James, when we've been together before, it's larger than the vitamin E segment. It's on track to be larger than the omega-3 sector, and I think it's a major consumer product category. We're also happy to have a footprint in the United States. Should marijuana ever become federally legal, we'll be able to quickly adapt to that.
Right. So is the opportunity now for Neptune more or less completely focused on the CBD industry that has obviously transformed since it received a different listing from, it's no longer part of the Prohibited Substances Act, now it's a regulated substance. So I mean, we've just seen an explosion in the different types and modes of CBD available. Is that where Neptune's going to be dominant?
James, we see our Canadian operation in our facility just outside of Montreal for, I'll call it, regulated markets, such as Canada and markets that are kind of akin to that, like Europe. So where it's highly controlled, regulated, and that will be CBD and THC marijuana. We see America for America. We don't see moving things across the Canadian border in the United States. We see this as American footprint for America, and we see a lot of opportunity there. I think the CBD market also is a very, very interesting market when you look at it, because ultimately it will be for chronic consumption. It's not going to be for when we're together or to relax, but it will be for things like pain, inflammation, anxiety that you'll probably consume on a daily basis.
Yeah, that's interesting. I have started consuming CBD on a daily basis, as much as for an experiment to just see what the effects are. But because I've noticed since I have been doing it that recovery time from workouts are in fact, as represented, faster. My ability to concentrate for long periods of time on single tasks has miraculously manifested itself
Which
once
is
again.
saying something, right?
Right. So just those things alone, and gastrointestinal reliability, I'm going to call it, have made me sort of consider this as a legitimate dietary supplement personally. So I'm very much aligned with the way you think that CBD is the near term. But you're saying you've also got great opportunities in THC in regulated markets. So is that targeting more the pharmaceutical prescription?
James, my belief ultimately, and actually one of the reasons we initially got into cannabis, because we see this really as a natural products and health products business primarily. And it doesn't mean CBD is separate and distinct from THC. I think ultimately we'll see combinations and formulations as science presents itself in terms of what is ideal. I think in the CBD market, in the CPG world, we'll see a lot of combination products that will be labeled as hemp initially in the United States, but it will be hemp with melatonin, hemp with omega-3s. And they'll use the structure function claims that go with omega-3s, for healthy, bones and joints or inflammation, what have you. And that will be how the products ultimately will be positioned. And so we're very excited by that. I think in the controlled markets we'll see something similar, but maybe THC being more of an element there.
Sure. So is your acquisition of SugarLeaf Labs then designed to control costs in the supply chain as it pertains to creating concentrated isolates as ingredients for your products?
James, we're first and foremost a B2B company. Actually, SugarLeaf does have a small branded business called Forest Remedies that we'll have to think through how we play that. But first and foremost, we're a B2B company. And I think when we look at this industry, whether it be Canada, cannabis, or CBD America, it will be ultimately dominated by CPG brands. And CPG brands are rarely backwardly integrated into the ingredient. They depend on great ingredient companies like DSM, BASF, Lonza, and others to support their business. And I think that's probably, there's no reason to think this industry won't be different in future.
Interesting. So the cost of products that you produce, when you say you're B2B, does that mean you're selling your products on a white label basis to other businesses?
Yeah, James, I think first and foremost we process into pure active compound, if you will. And like we do in our nutrition business today, we can take that further and put it into the delivery form, in the bottle, and in the label. Some CPG companies like the turnkey solution. Others that have that infrastructure will take the ingredient. It really depends on what is best for the customer. But I think that is sort of the normal CPG model today, and I think it's not either or, but it'll be a combination thereof.
I see. So if I'm a CPG focused business in the medical and wellness space, and I have existing distribution for products, and now I want to add the CBD component, does that mean I can come to Neptune and that's the business, is that you create the products for us and can package and can white label if necessary, or whatever element of that you need to? Okay, it's taken me a little while, but I finally understand your business.
The CBD is working.
CBD is having an effect. Awesome. Okay, so now in that context, what does the landscape look like for you competitively?
I think, again, there's two things. I think in the Canadian cannabis context, James, competitively licensed in January. We have a facility that is built and constructed. Initial licensing is online and working, and pending amendments. What's important in our Canadian facility is we have expandability that is up to 6,000 tons. This is what we were extracting omega-3 krill oil on, and we can grow into that. And we're taking a hard look at that today as we speak. And one could say, why would anyone ever need that kind of capacity? But I think if you look at the demand profile in Canada and in regulated markets, it's underserved today. I think there's a lot of interesting runway being laid out because of the pending legislation for other edibles and whatnot. And remember, we're 80% weed in Canada today, and every reason to believe we'll start to pattern after California and Colorado in the future, where the majority will be built on some kind of extract. And I think that negates consideration for hemp demand. 7% of Americans are taking CBD hemp now on a regular basis. It's a major
And what's the sort of where was it at, say, a year ago?
Much smaller.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, as I mentioned earlier, it's bigger than vitamin E, and it's on track to be as much as omega-3. So in Canada, I think the demand profile is underserved today, and it'll be underserved for a period of time. I think in the United States, so that's good news, and we're happy to be part of that. I think in the United States, where the frustration with major brands today is they can't get the conversation they need relative to the quality, stability, and traceability of the product. And one could argue that's probably normal, because if you were a marijuana person, that was never a requirement in your business before. But if you're going to be on the wall, on the shelves at CVS or Walmart or in Whole Foods, you're going to have to come with a product that is pure and consistent. So it's 25 milligrams every bottle, every pill, every capsule, every gummy, and it's going to have to be shelf stable, and it's going to have to taste good, and all those good things.
All the things that you've been doing for decades.
And I think, James, I think that is the conversation that the major brands are looking for today.
Right.
And they haven't. It doesn't mean other companies won't get there, and as they continue to recognize that. But we think that's a great advantage in the near term, is our connectivity to CPG and our appreciation for how that works.
Right. Interesting. Well, that sounds like you're really executing a well thought out strategy, Jim, and it's reflected in your share price, which is the best endorsement there is. So let's leave the conversation there for now, and I'll look forward to following up with you probably sooner rather than later. Thanks for joining me
James,
today.
thanks for having us.
You bet. If you like the show, you'll love our website. Visit us at www.midasletter.com for interviews with key CEOs, cannabis news, and to subscribe to our newsletter. All right, Ed, enough of that tomfoolery. Let's talk about my garden.
Okay.
Like, if you looked at my garden right now, there it is.
Oh my God, I don't recognize it.
That's actually at 9 a.m. this morning. It's currently sleeping. It's in black in there right now, but this is a recording.
How come they're different colors?
Because I like to spray paint them different colors. They're actually...
I distinctly see more yellow on that side.
Yeah, well, you know what?
Now, is that because you did it that way?
No, there are different strain. There's different strain on that side than the two on this side. In fact, there's 3 different strains in there. As you can see by the architecture of the one that is top right, it's obviously different from all 3.
Geez, why are there buds there already?
What do you mean? It's been in bud for 3 weeks. This is the end of the 3rd week. Monday starts week 4. And basically week 9, I'm thinking I'm going to crop out, which will be like the first week of July. So for Canada Day, which I'm now calling for my own purposes Cannabis Day, I'm going to have some fresh weed. Problem is, it won't be ready to smoke till about July 10th.
Why 10th? July 10th?
Well, because it takes 10 days to cure.
Okay.
10 days to dry out sufficiently that you can smoke it without sticking it in the microwave, which is just... If you did that, it would taste like shit. So we don't generally do that. Do you want to see somebody submitted a rendering of us, and I was kind of thinking, I'm not sure how much that looks like us, but what do you think of them apples?
That's not bad, actually.
Really?
This one's better. This one over here is better.
The one on the left or the one on the right?
Mine's the same.
Oh.
They decided to give you 2 looks.
Oh. Yeah, it looks like you're sticking your joint in my ear, though, in the left one.
Oh,
and
is that a
right
joint?
One, it looks like you're sticking my... No, it's a thermometer. What do you think? See the little wisps of smoke and all the pills falling from the sky behind us? So that's...
You know what we should do?
What's that?
You should take one, and I should take one, and we should color them and bring them back in a week, and then say, oh,
okay. Well, that's what we'll do. We'll have a coloring contest.
Yeah.
And then we'll have judges from the audience can choose which one is the better job.
Yeah. There's a little bit of, you can see a little bit of me in there. A little bit, I think.
Yeah, you look too young for me.
How about that forehead?
Well, you got...
You think I got
a few liver spots on the side there, but...
Is that what they are?
I guess.
Liver?
Isn't that what they call them? Age spots? Liver spots?
Liver.
I don't know. I got one right here on my wrist. Look. But that's from, cranking the monkey too hard.
Yeah, choking the chicken. Yeah.
Choking the chicken.
I understand.
Beating the dead horse.
Yeah, there's something about the liver. There's a word.
Well, you know what liver is? The second half of the word deliver, which is not to take somebody's liver out, which is what you would think intuitively if you were an etymologist. It's actually to send something to somebody. Does that make sense to you? Doesn't make sense to me. I don't know what's going on with the what's with this imagery here? It looks like I'm like 10 times bigger than you.
What about? Well, that's because.
Hey, tiny guy. How about I go down here? Oh, going down.
Hey, Uncle Ed, can I have some more ice cream,
You want some candy?
please? You got
Jesus,
some
stop.
candy, Ed? Can I have
hey,
some?
where's James? I got some candy for him.
Cannabis-laced candy.
Actually, we were talking about, being where the cannabis market's going to be in like 10 years. Instead of thinking about, like where is it going to be imminently. So we were coming up with a super potent concentrated THC cannabis for the under 18 set, yet you have to be 14 because I think the age is going to come down over 10 years. What do you think? Juvenile cannabis. And people said to me, don't even mention that on your show. You're going to be in so much caca-doo-doo. And I was like, but it's all in fun. We're just joking around here.
How about something for tots?
THC for tots. THC for toddlers. Actually, I've seen a few toddlers who could benefit from some THC.
You've got dirty tots.
You got some dirty tots.
Tots.
Look, show me your tots.
Let me see your tots.
I want to see your tots.
Jesus.
We're going to get those tots need some CBD.
Jesus, now you understand why I'm a sinner. I'm being influenced by these people, Jesus. It's not me. No, sir.
Oh, boy.
Just like you say.
Can you imagine?
All in your watch.
Drugs for children. Boy, that's a good thing our show is X-rated.
There was a guy, apparently, I was watching a movie, and one of the guys selling ice cream.
See, this
was
is what
actually
happens when you do too many drugs. He
was actually selling kids marijuana.
Really?
Yeah, instead of ice cream, hey kids, you want some
selling the marijuana instead of ice cream.
Well, he'd say, here's some ice cream, and here's some. What about cannabis-laced ice cream? That would be good.
Cannabis-laced ice cream? That's like feeding yourself before you get the munchies. Then what? You won't get the munchies.
No.
Because you'll
no
be
more
stuffing
munchies,
yourself.
folks. You just say you give everybody a gallon of it. You say eat a gallon of this.
Does ice cream give you gout?
It can, yeah. Just about everything can get you gout.
There's a case of gout going around here.
I know.
Did you see that?
Yeah, I saw it.
The guy didn't look good, did he?
Well, you know what the stupid thing is? Once in a while you get a gout attack and you don't know what it is. You just think you sprained your toe or something.
Oh, yeah?
And you can't walk, and it's so fucking painful. It's so painful.
Really? Actually, I was walking down the street last night and had a bit of pain in my left big toe.
That would be it.
That would be it?
Yeah.
Really? Yeah. But it was like minor.
Well, you're way well.
Really?
Stop drinking water for a while, see what happens.
Stop drinking water?
Water dilutes. Water dilutes. Yeah,
Water dilutes.
One of the things you should do if you experience gout is to drink copious quantities of water.
No shit.
No shit. Water.
You know,
no
I got a letter.
Shit in the water.
I got a letter from the Colon Cancer Society of Ontario yesterday, and they want me to take an FOBT test.
Everybody's got that letter.
Really?
Yeah.
So what? They scared me. I was like, "What? They think I've got colon cancer?" I'm calling them up. They're sending me the FOBT test.
I went through that thing.
What is it?
Well, the test I did. Now it's a little. You take a stick and you get some things and you send it in.
What do you mean some things? What things?
Stool.
Stool
test.
Like these?
Little stool, yeah. This is what...
You send them a piece of the stool?
Stool's going to be sitting on the stool.
The stool. I think you're full of stool. Oh, that's not a... So who do you get to do that? I'm not going to do that.
You do it. There's these kits you get. You go to your doctor. You say, give me the kit.
No, I got the kit coming in the mail.
Well, you take the kit. I know how to do it. And I went,
you know how to do it? Will you do it for me?
No.
Okay, never mind that. This conversation has definitely become somewhat fecal in matter. Materially fecal. Do you think the exchange will put some rules around that? It's a material change? What's a material change? I've got some fecal matter on my hands from filling up the FOBT kit. No, that's insane. Anyways, let's see. It's 4 o'clock. The market's closed.
Okay,
the week is over.
Okay, what happened today?
Let's talk about the week in cannabis, Ed. What happened this week? What really happened?
Well, I can tell you right off the hop, marijuana stocks are up today. You know how I know?
How do you know?
Because the ETF that is the inverse, 1 times inverse, was down.
Really?
Simple.
Oh. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. 1 times 1 equals 1.
Right.
What is 1 times -1?
-1.
1 times -1 is -1, but 1 times 1 is 1.
Yeah, and also -1 times -1 equals 1.
Jesus.
So the signs are opposite,
amazing.
it's always negative.
Okay.
If the signs are the same, it's always positive.
No, shit. That's just
No,
confusing.
water.
Fecal coliform. Anyway, so
You know there's
that's
no
what I
such thing as you
Okay.
can't divide a number by 0. You know that?
Pull up your handy dandy chart machine
Pull out
here.
your member.
Gotta look at some charts. So what I want to do,
Okay,
listen
tell
to
me.
Mark Noble
Yeah.
and his exposition on
Yeah.
the HMMJ, the HMMJU, and the HMMJI. So I want you to pull up.
HMJI.
Yeah. Do you know how to pull up a chart and put all 3 of those on the chart? Relative?
No, sir.
No?
No, but I can put up.
Okay.
I can pull up.
Do you know how to tie your shoes?
Nope.
Do you know how to pull up your pants?
Sometimes.
Do you know how to do an FOBT test?
Yep.
Now that's disturbing. That one might suggest that you have an unhealthy interest in
All things scatological.
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 Scatological. Boy, that's the word I was looking for, not fecal. Fecal's way
Yeah, fecal sounds like
directly scatological.
Feces.
Yeah, well, scatological is more or less the same thing, no?
Ah, shit. I think you
Oh,
say shit.
Jesus, Ed. We had it on the, the nice and clean language, and now you just took us down to the...
Do you know what shit? Do you know where the word shit came from?
I'm trying to imagine.
Apparently, each letter stands for something, right?
Nah.
Yeah.
Says who?
No.
What, in Latin?
It has something to do with storing containers in boats, and so they put on there store high in transit. I think it means something like that, because if you didn't, it would turn to shit.
But it was shit.
Ship high. No, I'll find it.
Okay, sounds like there's some research.
Well, you know
involved.
what? It'd probably just Google it.
Google.
What?
Google. I don't
I don't think we should be talking about shit anymore. We're talking about too much shit on this show.
It's all going to shit. Anyways, okay. So let's pull up I'll pull up the chart.
Put up
here.
a chart. Let's take a look at.
Okay. We're going to pull up the technicals on HMMJ versus HMMJU, or is it HMJU? Hold on, I'll figure it out in 1 second. Ed, just so you know, my regional montage has loaded, but my chart system still isn't working. Oh, I hate it when it hangs like this. Okay, so we'll start with HMMJ.
Horizons Marijuana Life Sciences.
All right,
Okay.
there we go. Horizons Marijuana Life
Yeah.
Sciences ETF.
Not up very much though.
Now, what we're going to do, and you're going to be perhaps a little bit chagrined by this movement. Oh, wait a sec. Oh man, how do I do that again? Tools. Advanced charting.
What do you want to do?
Okay, here we go. So I've got the HMMJ up. I'm going to add a comparison index. It's a Canadian index, and it's, I don't think it's going to be listed here. Let's see if it is listed on the, S&P. Oh man, this could be difficult. We'd have to search for it. No. Okay, so let's see, add comparison symbol. Let's do that. So HMJU, I'm going to assume it is. HMJU. This is like watching paint dry. What the hell? Look at that, it brought up the Midas Letter Index. How did that happen? What? Okay, those are, okay, so we got to start here. Let's start here. HMMJ. Ta-da. Okay, there's the HMMJ. Ooh, did you see how slightly that adjusted relative to the Midas Letter Index? It means that our methodologies might be close. Okay, add comparison symbol. HMJU. What do we got?
But it's not going to have a big chart. It's only going to have a 1 day chart.
Okay, BetaPro Marijuana.
But what?
Yeah. Okay.
It's only going to have one day chart. Yeah.
It says BetaPro Marijuana Companies. What? Right. Oh, I see. So that only works in an intraday chart because it's, yeah, okay. So let's go intraday then. Fine, we can deal with that. 1 day. And now let's go HMJU because it's only been trading for 1 day. Okay, look, and there it is. In blue. Check it out, Ed. Look at the chart. So there's the HMJU.
Right.
Which is the 1X, or no, sorry, the 2X. The index ended up being up 0.81%. So that's why we really don't see much differentiation in those two performances intraday, do we? So I guess the index, the ETF being new, there's only been a few trades in it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think we should maybe just revisit this one.
Well, it's obviously going to be helpful once the HMJU has been trading for a little while, because how else? But still, okay, so interestingly, look what happened when the stock came out and spiked. Looking here, it was up 2.02% at one point today.
Yeah.
The HMJU spiked 2.44%. So if that was your strategy, you would actually have done better. When the index dropped, though, the HMJU underperformed the HMMJ, and I guess that is a normal outcome.
Yeah.
And to be expected by a 2X.
Yeah.
And it underperformed, but not by 2X, or did it? Let's see, it was 0.05%. Anyways, yeah, we're going to need more data points.
Let's revisit this one.
Yeah. Do you
Let's
think
put this under the banner, revisit.
Revisiting. Let's see how much of the audience we've lost now that we've spent so much time
talking about
faluting around in the.
Well, what else? Let's talk about how, for instance, here's something. Yeah.
What do you got?
Well, I'm not sure what I got.
You got Alzheimer's?
Yeah.
Dementia.
If you don't know much about what's going on, you probably do have it, right?
I couldn't tell you. I
think it'd be a nice way to go.
Well, every day you meet nothing but new people.
You meet.
Faye Smith actually has opined unequivocally, please stop talking about poop. So I guess it is a little bit, and we're down to 76 viewers right now.
Really?
So I suspect that the these guys, Jeff W. is suggesting that we need crayons, not charts. That's a good one. Yes,
okay.
Boomers struggling with tech, classic, says Toro Loco. We're boomers struggling with tech. Yeah, actually, no, what we are is idiots struggling with tech. Thank you, anyways, Toro Loco. Boomers, I guess that is a boomer. They should just tell the guys behind the camera what chart they need to see and let them handle it. All these guys can't get the hang of this. Yeah,
you know what? Easy for you to say.
Yeah.
Come on, I know how to put up a chart.
Yeah.
Just give me the symbol and give me the exchange.
No, we have other problems here that we can't actually, well, we could tell you about, but it would bore the hell out of you.
These are issues.
Let's just say that we thought that our ineptitude, apparently, as it comes across on camera, would be somewhat entertaining. In fact, we used to have an audience that appreciated us for our bumbling. In fact, I remember somebody said, I only show up here for these guys bumbling.
Bumbling.
Yeah. Do we bumble? I know we mumble.
You know what? I'd tell you what bumbles.
What bumbles?
Bumblebees.
Bumblebees bumble. Boy, oh boy. Okay, tell you what.
What about honeybee?
Honeybee?
Honeybee don't bumble.
You know bumble honeybee?
Yeah, honey.
Honeybee, you want to bumble with me?
Okay.
Anyways, pull up a chart on ENW is being suggested. ENW, N-Wave. That's the company that cooks marijuana.
N-Wave.
Yeah.
And what exchange?
ENW, I'm going to just take a flyer and say CNX.
You'd be wrong.
Huh? Look at that.
What, ENW?
E-N, Echo Nancy Whiskey. Echo Niagara Whiskey.
Niagara Whiskey.
Yep. Oh, it's a venture, according to the voice.
230. Whoa.
What do we got, Ed?
Whoa.
Pull it up.
We got a mover.
We got a mover. Oh, look at that. Okay, so
This thing.
tell
oh,
me
yeah.
what date that spike happens, that first volume spike out
This
there.
one here?
Yeah, what is that date? August?
April, August.
No, is it April 28? I can't see that far. April 26, 2018. Wow, let's go see what that news was. You know, so we've had InWave in here a couple of times, and they have really been knocking it out of the park by the looks of things.
Yeah.
And
End wave.
okay, April, what was the date? 28th? That is April 25th. So the 26th there was a press release. So that would have been the would have been the insider selling ahead of the the news release, because that's a extracurricular sport here in Canada. What?
EnWave?
Oh, that was the day that Aurora announced that it was going to invest $10 million in EnWave. So that's
So you're saying if a company puts a lot of money into a relatively small company, that's a good thing?
good for the small company's share price. Absolutely.
We just saw that.
That's what we just saw.
We're connecting the dots.
We're connecting the dots, picking up the pieces,
Picking
putting
up
the
the-
puzzle together. Yeah, you too can be a trading genius.
Did you ever meet a guy by the name of Jack Hickman III?
No.
They brought him in from the U.S. to run a small software company I was involved with in the 80s.
Small software company like IBM or something?
A little smaller, a lot smaller. MotionWorks.
All right, and?
And it didn't end well. He was a...
Didn't end well?
He was a felon and wanted by several states. And he came over here posing as a merchant bank, and the ending wasn't good.
Oh, wow.
But he always had cash on him, right? Never had a credit card, always cash. Watch out for that. There's a tell. That's a tell.
No credit cards.
Well, you know.
I don't have any credit cards.
You don't?
No, I don't have any credit.
Do you have any credit?
None.
Why would you have a credit card?
Exactly. But I don't have cash.
You could have cards.
I've got cards galore.
All kinds of cards.
Cards?
Business cards.
Pick a card, any card. Yeah, no, credit is, in my view, credit is for losers, and is the way that you will always expose yourself to the risk that the bank will foreclose upon your, the bank can change the policies on their lending anytime. In fact, when you sign whatever credit agreement you agree to sign, you actually sign that, yes, they can change the rules on this agreement and arrangement anytime you want, which means that you're always subject to the whims of a bank, and I never want to be subject to the whims of anybody, so I've always learned to live within my means by, not having credit. That and the fact that I blew up my credit when I was like 19 years old might be a factor. No, but
that might be something to do with it.
Seriously, if you want to rehabilitate your credit, you can.
For instance, yeah.
And I just thought, you know what? I've learned my lesson. I'm going to leave my credit in a shambles, an absolute shambles. No, actually, my credit is non-existent because I haven't borrowed anything.
Yeah.
And every time somebody does a credit check, they're like, well, you don't have a credit rating. You don't have any credit outstanding. I'm like, well, that's what happens if you live within your means.
Do you know who said this famous quote? Neither a borrower nor lender be.
God!
Nope.
Wasn't God?
Well, he might have said it.
He said it to me.
Yeah, he said
right here in
He
my
said it to the
earpiece.
guy. He gave the guy. God gave the guy the idea, obviously.
Oh, I
to
see.
say it. But you know who said it?
No.
Shakespeare.
No kidding.
Well,
did Shakespeare say it, or did one of his characters say it?
One of his characters said it.
So in other words, it was Francis Bacon.
No.
Not necessarily?
Francis Bacon. You know who? He's one of the greatest artists, contemporary artists Britain's ever.
No.
Yeah.
Come on. Got the name like Bacon?
Francis Bacon. Do you know? You ever see his works?
No. What? What's
His
God is
works.
speaking to me? It's from Hamlet.
Hamlet.
Yeah.
Neither a borrower nor lender be, for loan oft loses itself and friend.
See, now you've lost me.
Wait, if you lend money to your friends,
What friends?
you lose your friends and you lose the money,
Actually, I got drunk with one of my old friends this week.
Really?
Yeah, you know what I want to do? Let's talk about cannabis and the performance of the week, because that's kinda what we're
APH is
here
up
for.
big today. APH.
No kidding. I'm looking at my, there, look at that. All of the cannabis indices are up today, but only ever so slightly. The best performer was the Canadian Venture Index, up almost 2%. And let's go look at the big movers here. Let's start with the large cap index. Go to index page. That's what we want to do. There's those boomers messing with technology again. Okay, so Canopy Growth, still the number one by market cap, up 0.53 or down 0.53% rather, on volume of 1.5 million shares traded. You know, it's interesting, going into May and June and July here, we're starting to see the volume and the interest in the cannabis sector dry up, as it does across the sector. Now, on the macro stage, what do we got? Trade war, Trump and China. What else we got? Deutsche Bank teetering on the brink of insolvency.
Yeah, that's amazing.
That is amazing. We've got the increasing dysfunctionality of the United States executive branch. I mean, you can't be pro or against whatever is going on there without recognizing that there is an increasing amount of dysfunctionality happening within at Congress, the House. I mean, it's across the board, and I think that has got to be representative of a pretty major macro threat to the entire stability of the global economy. Let's keep going. So we got trade war, U.S. political instability. What do you call what's going on in the UK now with Brexit? I call that a shit show.
How about international intrigue?
Intrigue. That would be the polite way to say it, but let's stick with, again, going back to our scatological peregrinations, a shit show.
A shit show.
I mean, poor Elizabeth May has now resigned in tears after claiming that she did all she could, and she has my sympathies.
Why didn't she come out and say something like, I've done nothing, I'm not really trying here, I'm just fed up with the whole thing.
I think she should have come out and said, you bunch of tossers, you're going to get exactly what you deserve. I'm the fuck out of here now. I'm going to be there to dance my face off and eat ecstasy.
Oh, with a full pension.
With
full
a
government
full pension.
Full
That's
government pension.
Your expense, you bastards.
Oh.
Well, anyway, so there's these macro catalysts out there that are just, I think, giving everybody, a little bit of pause. Going into
like
summer,
a little bit of, like pause?
Pause.
Like cat pause?
Well, yeah, like pause. Hands with no fingers.
Pause.
Yeah, so I think, sell in May and go the fuck away is having an extremely attractive appeal.
Do you expose your paws when you're in a spa?
Do I expose my paws?
In a spa.
No, I don't have paws. I have claws.
Talons.
Talons.
You have talons.
Exactly. I was a bird in a former existence. All right, let's keep going with our look at what happened this week. Aurora Cannabis. Now let's pull up their chart and take a look at our old friends at Aurora. So, Aurora, let's go at the 5-day look here since it's Friday. So there's Aurora's week. Actually shed a total of, it was touched a high of 12.16 on Monday and then closed the week at 11.19. So down a buck. Down a buck, which is like 8% for those guys on the entire week. Let's go backwards. I want to talk a bit about that press release that we saw from Canopy Growth this week about them acquiring the German company. And where is it? Let's see here. Meet your neighbor. Tweed brings unique blend of conversation to Meadow Lake, Saskatchewan. Boy, we could have gone to a Tweed party if we lived in Meadow Lake, Saskatchewan. They acquired this skincare and wellness company.
Who did?
What the hell? I just click on the link and I get a Providence Gold Mines press release. That's not a good sign. Something's wrong with the price of tea in China. Okay, this company called This Works. Okay, they announced an all-cash transaction for £43 million. £43 million. I guess that means it's a UK company. What other countries transact in pounds? None.
Well, isn't there an Irish pound?
An Irish pound?
No.
Euro.
That's a punt.
Euro.
Punt.
The Irish transact in the euro.
Yeah.
In Northern Ireland and in...
Yeah, it's an Irish pound.
In the Northern Ireland, they use the pound sterling.
That's correct.
In Southern Ireland, or Ireland as others would prefer we called it, it's the euro.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting. They talk about Ireland as being this country, you know, like
Green grass.
everything's there, leprechauns. It's all
Kick-ass potatoes.
lots of beer,
Good
potatoes.
beer. That's a whiskey.
But what does the word ire mean?
Ire?
Ire.
Ire's
Anger.
anger.
Angerland.
Ire. No, but that's E-I-R-E.
No, ire. I-R-E. Ireland.
No, E-I-R-E.
How do you spell Ireland?
How do I spell iron?
Yeah.
I-R-E-L-A-N-D.
How do you spell ire?
I-R-E. But what is the archaic word for Ireland? That's what I said. E-I-R-E.
No, I know that.
Well, that's what we're talking about.
No, but I'm saying right now they're saying it's Angerland. Because it's
Angerland.
Ireland. Ireland.
That's like just insane. I don't get it.
What does ire mean?
Ire. Anger.
Someone is
Air. Ire. But it's air. It's not ire. Air.
Ireland?
No, it's not Ireland. Air is Ireland. Isn't it the old Gaelic?
What about Aaron? What about Aaron? They call Ireland Aaron.
Aaron is a guy who is named after the former king of Ireland, Eric.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, now I'm just making stuff up. You know what happens to your credibility when you make stuff up? In the modern age, goes through the roof.
Goes through, yeah.
Because it seems like you're the only one who knows.
You're creative.
You're the only one who knows what's going on. Donald Trump's not the president.
No.
He cleans the toilets.
Yeah.
How does he know? Oh, he's the only one who knows. Oh, this must be true.
This guy knows a lot.
See, I was always said that a man will always be promoted to the point of his ultimate incompetence. But yeah, interesting what's going on in the Canopy world. They're making all these great acquisitions. The one that I really liked was this. Geez, where is it now?
It's
No, I can't find it.
I know.
Let's go back to the indexes. Let's stay within our safe territory. Kronos Group.
Oh yeah, there's one. There's one I used to.
Oh, actually, here's the one I wanted to look at was Neptune, NEPT. Let's pull up Neptune.
Okay.
NEPT. Neptune Wellness Solutions, trading on the TSX.
I got it here, right here.
I got it right
420.
here. I got 572.
Yeah, you got a Canadian number.
Yeah, that's right. Anyways, but look at this chart. Since the beginning of the year, Neptune's done pretty well. A little bit of weakness around March, but since then, the upward trajectory has continued. I'm starting to really understand their business. As Jim Hamilton elucidated earlier, they are specializing in the white label formulation and packaging of products for cannabis growers and cannabis products. We are going to get to know more about that company because one of our near and dear companies that we've invested in, I'm not going to tell you who it is. You know why? Because every time I mention a company that we've invested in, people think we're pumping.
Yeah, you know what? Don't
dumping.
tell them. Don't tell them.
I'm not going to tell them.
Tell them when you get out that this is a good one.
We just made $1.5 billion on this trade, but we would have told you if you weren't so mean to us when we talk about a company.
You're meanies.
You're mean. We hate mean. But anyways, look at all this Neptune Wellness Solution. You know, here's one of my pet peeves, pulling up this news page. So here's a news page, Potstock News. Potstock News is not a newswire. They're guys who write about other people's press releases and embed them with their clients. So it's like, but this is nonetheless displaying in the newswire feed. And these newswire companies really have to get their act together and kick out these fake newswire participants because they're not news. Don't you think?
They should have a word, though, that when a news isn't new anymore, they should change it. Like in other words, why say old news? Why don't you say olds?
Like Oldsmobile?
Like news is new, olds is old.
Like Oldsmobile. Oldsmobiles are old.
Oldsmobile, yeah.
Is there any new Oldsmobiles around?
No, they would be a new mobile.
Newsmobiles.
Newsmobile.
Well, and then it would be a vehicle that carries the news.
Exactly. It'd be like one of those trucks that go around.
Like a newspaper truck.
Attention, Kmart shoppers.
Or like the ice cream truck. Attention, children. There's a pedophile driving a truck full of cold, hard, soft ice cream. Playing children's music. What? Is it wrong to say that? Who else drives an ice cream truck? Come on. No, I apologize to all the ice cream truck drivers out there. This is our sense of humor. We are dark beyond dark. Aren't we? Scatological. What?
Do you know that black is absence of light and light is all colors? Figure that one out.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah?
Bullshit.
Oh, no.
No.
I'm making.
I think
you
you're
know.
making this up.
Unlike you, I don't make stuff up.
What? What do you mean, unlike me? You don't make stuff up.
No.
Hello, is this thing on? You make stuff up.
Of course we do.
Why not?
No, but that's right. White is all colors.
Never let the facts get in the way of
so
a
if
good
you
story.
take white and blow it up, and you get a rainbow, right? White light becomes a rainbow.
Well, that's the national flag of Cusco.
And then if it's black, that means there's no light.
Really? How is that possible? So then, what is off black?
Off black?
Yeah, gray. So what is gray? The absence of light? Or
Gray is a color.
So what is gray? How do you make gray? Combining what colors?
Black and white.
Okay.
No.
So if white is all colors and black is an absence of all colors, then how the hell is that possible if gray is the combination of black and white?
That's a good one.
Not bad.
That's a good one.
See, this is why I'm pretty sure that white is hardly all colors and black is definitely not the absence of all colors. Black is not the absence of color. Black is a color unto itself. It's just the darkest color. Anyways, that wraps up our cannabis coverage for another week.
There you go.
Hope you enjoyed yourselves. If you did, well, we'll see you next week. If you did, bye!